Songs about identity, depression, and suicide have been increasingly common in Japanese music since the 2010s. Among the songs that have resonated with people and even changed their lives, 僕が死のうと思ったのは, or The Reason Why I Thought I'd Die, is often considered a timeless classic that transcends language and culture. In this video, we'll be going through the story behind 僕が死のうと思ったのは and how its lyrics connected with millions of people around the world. 僕が死のうと思ったのは is a single released by Nakashima Mika in 2013. Nakashima Mika was one of the most popular Japanese singers throughout the 2000s and 2010s. Her song Yuki no Hana became a major hit across Asia in 2003, and remains to this day one of the most iconic Japanese songs of all time. It even inspired a movie adaptation in 2019, almost 2 decades after its release. You might be wondering why a singer as successful as her would release a song so dark and heavy. Well, in 2010, just as she was about to celebrate her 10th anniversary in the industry, an unforeseen health issue derailed her career. It all started in 2005 when she began experiencing mild muffled hearing in her right ear. The impact was minimal, so she learned to live with it. However, in 2010, the condition in both of her ears suddenly worsened, and she was diagnosed with a patulous eustachian tube, a physical disorder that causes chronic autophony. Similar to how your ears feel during an airplane takeoff, your own voice becomes so much louder than external sounds, except that it's permanent. For a singer, the ability to hear is just as essential as the ability to sing. You need to hear properly to control pitch, volume, and accuracy. As a result, she had to cancel her 10th anniversary concert to focus on recovery. Surprisingly, she returned to her activities after only 6 months. However, one thing that she wouldn't confess until years later was that she never fully recovered. After rounds of diagnosis, her doctor declared that her condition was untreatable and irreparable. While it didn't affect studio recordings, the side effects of her condition were painfully obvious in her live shows. It became extremely difficult for her to sing on pitch consistently, as her own voice would often overpower the music in her ears. And since she kept her condition a secret except for people close to her, she received a lot of criticism for her live performances. Fast forward to 2013. Although Nakashima Mika continued releasing new songs and touring, the frustration and helplessness caused by her condition still loomed over her like a dark cloud. So she and her team decided that her next single should be more upbeat to change the mood. They reached out to Akita Hiromu, a talented songwriter and the lead vocal of Amazarashi, best known for performing the opening of My Hero Academia, Sora ni Utaiba. However, Akita had a different idea. Instead of writing a new song for Nakashima, he believed an old one he had already written would suit her perfectly. The demo Nakashima Mika received took her by surprise. She had asked for a positive song, but instead she got one titled The Reason Why I Thought I'd Die. She was understandably unsettled by the title at first, but the moment she read the lyrics, she knew instantly that this was the song she truly needed, not just as a singer, but as a person. 3 years had passed since her diagnosis. Nakashima Mika went into every concert not knowing if she would disappoint her fans. And according to her doctor, this would be the new norm as long as she continues to sing. She may have accepted this new reality, but it's still taking a toll on her mentally. That is, until this song came along. During an interview, she revealed that there were internal concerns about whether the song was too dark for her image. But ultimately, it's a great song that she wants to perform. It saved her, and even if it's only for a few people out there, she hopes the song can save them as well. So on August 28, 2013, Nakashima Mika released 僕が死のうと思ったのは as her newest single. 僕が死のうと思ったのは initially received mixed reactions due to its provocative theme, but as more people connected with its message, it eventually became one of Nakashima Mika's most beloved songs. Since then, Nakashima Mika continued releasing albums and touring across Asia while battling her conditions. There were still hardships and struggles, but they were no longer unbearable. And that brought us to 2020. COVID-19 struck Japan and halted all of her activities. But in that moment, when the world stood still, there was a blessing in disguise. For the first time since her break 10 years ago, she finally got a chance to slow things down and rest. Then something incredible happened. Her condition started to improve, slowly but gradually. And then one day, the physical disorder that doctors said was untreatable and irreparable just disappeared. There's no explanation as to how it happened, but for what Nakashima Mika had endured over the past 10 years, and what her music had done for people around the world, she definitely deserved this miracle. She later announced her full recovery on the TV show in October 2021. A month later, she appeared on the first take for the first time, performing her biggest hit, Yuki no Hana. Then, 2 weeks later, she gave a breathtakingly emotional performance of Boku ga Shinou to思ったのは. 僕が死のうと思ったのは. The video currently has more views than Yuki no Hana, and beneath the video are comments by thousands of people around the world, sharing how this song helped them deal with depression or cope with the loss of loved ones. So what is it about this song that resonates so deeply with people, regardless of their language, life experience, or cultural background? Well, Nakashima Mika's performance obviously plays a massive part. The emotion she poured into the performance is so powerful that anyone can appreciate it, despite language barriers. However, without the equally important lyrics that shaped and channeled those raw emotions into a song with a poignant message, Boku ga Shinou to思ったのは would have been just another emotional song, instead of one that can save lives. When facing challenges involving mental health, one thing I believe is equally important to finding the solution is knowing that you're not alone. There are people out there facing and going through similar stuff as you are. Sometimes just knowing that is enough to change a person's mindset. The lyrics that we're about to discuss could get real and uncomfortable, but that's exactly why the song resonates and saves people. It's authentic. So with that in mind, let's get down to it. Simply based on the title, you would be right to assume that The Reason Why I Thought I'd Die is a song about death. But once you've listened to it, you'll realize that the song is as much about life, if not more. When reading the first few lines of this song, it reminded me of a quote by Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen.
枕元の抜け毛が増えていた。お気に入りの惣菜パンがコンビニから姿を消したり、そういう小さな絶望の積み重ねが人を大人にするのです。
The same often applies to suicidal thoughts as well. It's a state of mind, a dark filter where everything you see becomes negative. Even something so trivial and meaningless could trigger a downward spiral. And that's what the opening verse and pre-chorus are about. When all you have are negative thoughts, birds chirping, flowers blooming on your birthday, or seeing an abandoned bicycle, are enough for a person to think about dying. One thing that makes the lyrics of this song stand out is the use of juxtaposition. In the first chorus, the reason why I cry from being unsatisfied is surely because I wish to be satisfied. These are two sides of a coin. You feel empty because you've experienced fulfillment before, and now you're trying to find that happiness again. But the more you yearn for it, the more devastating the emptiness becomes, to the point of making one cry. In the second chorus, the reason why I cry from wanting to be loved is because I remember the warmth of others. It's a similar sentiment. Loneliness is cruel, but it's the memory of warmth, a double-edged sword that truly cuts deep. Then comes the bridge. The reason why I keep considering dying is because I take living too seriously. Suicide is sometimes seen as a result of rashness and not valuing life, and there's some truth in that. But at the same time, would someone who didn't care about fulfillment or relationships be consumed by emptiness and loneliness to the point of self-harm? I don't think so. Sometimes, the constant thoughts of death reflect a deep obsession with life, because there's no death without life, and there's no life without the fear of losing it. And that's what makes this song so special and genuine. The complexity and duality of negative and positive, death and life. It's not dark and heavy for the sake of it. It's dark and heavy because there's beauty in our struggles. And simply recognizing that can be life-changing. It's easy to perceive Boku ga Shinou to思ったのは as a negative song. We've spent the whole track exploring the reasons why someone will want to die. But that's what makes the final lyric so much more powerful. The reason why I thought I'd die is because I haven't met you yet. I fell in love with this world a little bit more because people like you were born. I will place my hope in this world a little more because people like you exist. 僕が死のうと思ったのは まだあなたに出会ってなかったから。あなたのような人が生まれた。世界を少し好きになったよ。あなたのような人が生きてる。世界に少し期待するよ。The you or あなた in the lyrics is a vague concept. It could be a friend, a partner, a stranger, or someone you haven't even met yet. It is the hope that will keep driving you to fight against all challenges, whether it be depression or suicidal thoughts. This song is a reminder that at the end of the storm, there's someone or something special that is worth all the hardship. But until then, know that you'll never walk alone. This has been Cushion. See you next time.